You forgot, didn't you? You forgot about this picture. You forgot the story behind it. Even if you recognize it right now, be honest with yourself. Before I put this on your screen, when was the last time you actually thought about the Dashcon ball pit? We, as citizens of the internet, love to use words like legendary and lore when talking about big internet moments like this. We tell ourselves these events are permanent history, but they aren't. We move on, always. The internet has become a content treadmill designed to make sure that you never stick to the past, so you keep consuming the future. And as cliche as it sounds, I'm not sure how much I like this future we found ourselves in. I miss the internet that we've left behind. So today, we are gonna channel our inner millennial and hold on to the past for just a little bit as we uncover the foundation of these peak moments in internet history. Heritage Posts. Heritage Posts are the cursed, unhinged, and culturally impactful online moments that defined the very soul of the websites they spawned on. I will give you several examples, some nostalgic, some humorous, some cringy, but all of them wildly entertaining. I want to tell you about these posts because we can learn a lot about the internet we're going into from the internet we've left behind. We're gonna start with the weird and funny, but ultimately estranged cousin of the website family. You know, the one that wears a hoodie and a wolf tail to dinner, but also shares their stash with you when you go for a walk later. Tumblr. Even if you know nothing about Tumblr, trust me, keep watching. And also, yes, you do, like a lot. You know a lot about Tumblr. I'm gonna cover that later. Tumblr is just the lens that we're looking through today to make observations. In future videos, I'm gonna be doing the same for Twitter, 4chan, and maybe some other websites as well if you guys like them, so stay tuned. So you might have forgotten about these historic online moments, but I haven't, because on this episode of Internet Buried Treasure, we're looking at some of the most famous Tumblr heritage posts of all time. Slip Slap. I'm SlappyPat, your cosmic tour guide through the niche and forgotten content of the internet, where we seek out buried treasure with a critical but appreciative eye and discover just what made it so important. Say the line, Patrick. But in order to understand that, we have to go back to the beginning. First, let's go over what a heritage post actually is, how it's different from normal internet content, and why it's so important to the website it came from. And as we go over some of these examples, if you know some additional context that I don't mention, leave a comment. The beauty of the internet is that if I miss even one insignificant detail, someone is going to push up their dork glasses with their noodly dweeb arms and take it upon themselves to correct me. And while you're down there giving me engagement, would you kindly hit the subscribe button? No ulterior motives here, promise. So your box standard meme, exploitable, or viral internet post is like a shooting star, right? It burns bright, it sticks around for half a second, and then it's just gone. And we all go back to staring into the void. We share viral content because it's current. You gotta stay in the know to know, you know? Virality is a social currency that succumbs to inflation within days. And if a fucking talk show host ever brings it up, it's legally dead.
Everyone's having fun with the 6'7" trend that's everywhere right now.
6'7", 6'7",
Oh my God.
6'7".
A heritage post is different. It's the load-bearing celestial body around which many other planetary objects orbit. A heritage post is a piece of content that has become so ingrained in the specific community that it was born from that it changes permanently the language, behavior, reputation, or overall culture of that space. In my opinion, there's a couple criteria you need to really make a true heritage post. Number one, it refuses to die. Normal fast food quality internet content ages like McDonald's fries in the refrigerator. It is dog ass, old news, get this shit off my screen tier in a week or two. Heritage posts erstwhile, get screenshot, referenced, and reposted annually. It's evergreen content for the terminally online individual. Number 2, heritage posts almost always carry a specific emotional weight, some sort of cursed adjacent nature, be it confusion, secondhand embarrassment, or sheer awe at the unmitigated audacity of the OP. And sometimes it can even be simple novelty. The first time you've ever read those particular words in that particular order. And number 3, numero 3, some sort of barrier for the uninformed. This is probably the most crucial part in my opinion, and it kind of helps explain points 1 and 2. As cringe as it would feel, you could adequately explain to your Mima why something like this, fuck, what was I supposed to put there, is funny. You know, while she looks for her glasses to read your phone. You could actually get Mima to understand this with some effort. A heritage post? Dude, imagine explaining why the Dashcon ball pit is funny to your boss in the break room when he asks why you're laughing at your phone. You would not be able to kill yourself fast enough. A heritage post requires context, and context requires prior knowledge, or at the very least, you need to understand internet humor on its own to tell a heritage post from the normie shit. This kind of barrier to entry, this like loose gatekeepy kind of thing, you either know it or you don't, is what makes a heritage post a sort of, how would you say it? Maybe like an internet buried treasure in my mind. You know, parts of the internet that you would otherwise never know about, but are worth remembering. And while every website has heritage posts, not many websites have cultivated a museum of them quite like Tumblr. Tumblr was the birthplace of one specific flavor of internet user with too many feelings and way too much free time. Everything is outlandishly exaggerated, but still taken super seriously. I guess you could say that about a lot of websites, but at least back in the day, this is what Tumblr was known for. And it's back in the day that I want to talk about. So without further ado, time for this tour guide to Yap Yap Yap, Cosmic Cadets. Let's take a look at our first exhibit on this multi-stop tour of the old internet. Let's explore some classic heritage posts from the social blog website tumblr.com in fine detail and discuss why I consider them internet buried treasures. Spiders, Georg. This is the quintessential Tumblr heritage post. It is so influential that it has a dedicated Wikipedia article. No, I'm not joking. Here it is. And there are 2 key aspects of Spiders Georg that really define it as a heritage post. Number 1, it's the perfect template for the concept of a statistical outlier.
Every day, Georg gorges on millions of spiders. If we average Georg's yearly spider intake in with the rest of the world's, that is the total number of spiders eaten divided by the total number of people, we indeed find that, on average, each person on Earth does consume 3 spiders per year.
And number 2, it perfectly encapsulates the Tumblr writing style. And I want to talk about that writing style a little deeper because you need a good understanding of it to get the most out of the rest of the posts that we're looking at later. Average person eats 3 spiders a year factoid, actually just statistical error. Average person eats 0 spiders per year. Spiders Georg, who lives in cave and eats over 10,000 each day, is an outlier and should not have been counted. So, despite its reputation for being the spawn point of fragile discourse, Tumblr actually shares a cursed, star-crossed lovers-esque DNA with 4chan, one of the most internet-forward, trend-setting websites of all time, even though 4chan is quite the opposite to Tumblr. Tumblr and 4chan are like, oh, I don't know, some sort of, K-pop demon hunter falling for a hot, sexy demon with no feelings who don't deserve to live. It's so obvious. Diametrically opposed, yet the same. You see, both 4chan and Tumblr have given the internet a lot in terms of speech patterns. But here's the difference. 4chan has given us a lot of like written and visual vocabulary. I'm talking like Wojaks, Chad faces, all sorts of different colored pills, blank maxed, blank pilled, blank cells, cooming, dooming, consuming, and so much more. Tumblr, on the other insect-eating hand, has given us a cadence, a new way of speaking. And I'm not talking about like the vaguely Eastern European broken English of the post itself. And yes, I know spiders aren't insects, by the way. I do know that. Stop fucking typing. What I'm talking about is this specific TV tropes-ass way of describing ideas. Tumblr loves to turn concepts into proper nouns. It's an appeal to authority. You capitalize the first letter of every word, and suddenly a silly observation becomes a very big deal. It implies that the poster has the intellect to christen these words as a trademarked concept, and you better pay attention. Spider's Georg, in my opinion, is kind of the king of this. He is a character, yes, Spider's Georg, as well as this kind of trademarked concept. Blank's Georg. You ever see a guy buying 3 air fryers at Target? That's Air Fryer's Yuor. He's an outlier and should not be counted. A certain US political figure single-handedly raising the average number of felony charges per president by himself? That's Felony's Georg. I'm reading that straight from Wikipedia, by the way. Please stop fucking typing. Biblically accurate angels. Do you mean many-eyed Georg? Is it Georg or Georg or George? By the way, I definitely should have decided that before recording. But this is why it's a heritage post, you guys. It combines that classic pseudo-intellectual Tumblr capitalization shtick with a meme format that works for literally anything. Spider's Georg is a character, a meme, and a concept all at once, and the post has that perfect Tumblr-y cadence. You might have even seen it before and never realized where this sort of thing came from. Spider's Georg is constantly referenced, even outside of Tumblr, and is one of the all-time greats in terms of simplicity, universal appeal, and internet humor. So, speaking of the way Tumblr talks, we are moving on from the body horror of eating 10,000 spiders to the psychological horror of the English language. We are talking about the phrase, "This is the first time I've ever read those words in that order." Or, its more judgmental younger brother, none of these words are in the Bible. This is a survival mechanism. It is the only way our teeny tiny pea brains can process the sheer, unbridled linguistic violence that occurs on this fucking website. See, Tumblr users treat language like infinite toddlers treat infinite Lego sets. Given enough time, they'll smash the pieces together until something fits, but to my horror and dismay, it somehow ends up understandable. Because this site is a melting pot of niche fandoms, political discourse, and mental illness, you end up with sentences that would bring Hemingway back to life just to pull the trigger again. Let's look at some examples together. I want you to really taste these sentences. The clown husbandry discourse is heating up in the Minecraft fandom again. Thank you for the PSA, as if clowns are livestock that need to be ethically reared for their meat or milk. And somehow, this is a recurring issue in the Minecraft community? Again, freaking again, this sentence is a flashbang. It bypasses your logic centers and deals 10 points of direct psychic damage. At least, that's what I would say 15 years ago, and or if I was 13 years old, but I am not. Nowadays, this sentence, for me, invites only curiosity and a mean sense to Google something that I'll definitely be worse off for knowing. We are long past shame and regret in this godforsaken country. Now, there is only cold, calculating consumption. Regardless, this is the first time I've ever read those words in that order. Destiel going canon is the reason the GOP lost Georgia. God fucking damn it. Are we really talking about Supernatural in the year of our Lord 2026? Listen, if you showed this sentence to a historian from 1950, they would assume that we lost the war. But on Tumblr, this is a coherent geopolitical take. It makes perfect sense. Each word is perfectly parsable on its own, allowing you to dissect the sentence little by little until attaining bitter comprehension. Castiel confessed his love to Dean Winchester, and the resulting butterfly effect shifted the Electoral College. Obviously.
I love you.
To understand how Georgia flipped from Republican to Democrat.
Germa is a wet muffler. I don't even know what that means, but I know that it's probably true. None of these words are in the Bible, but to the author of this post, they are as true as the word of God, or they wouldn't have written it. This sentence is no vaguely conceptual insult. This is a declarative statement with an entire dissertation behind it. I can just feel it. This phenomenon of writing brand new sentences and, more importantly, like the reactions to them, the gawking at them and pretending to be super confused and whatever, is a Heritage Post concept because it highlights the unique soup of Tumblr. On Twitter, people fight about politics. On Reddit, people fight for their right to continue sucking big dick. On Tumblr, people fight about whether or not the Onceler from the Lorax is a communist icon who would date Sans the Skeleton, and they do it with alarming intelligence. And when you encounter a sentence like, "The Grinch X Tony the Tiger Mpreg fanfic just dropped," you realize that you have strayed so far from God's light that the Bible doesn't even have the vocabulary to save you. It is a testament to human creativity. We took the English language, a tool refined by Shakespeare and Hemingway, and we used it to explain the socioeconomic implications of dragon dildos. Well, it's beautiful, it's horrifying, and I hate that I understand every single word of it. This weird way of speaking declaratively about the most obscure topics imaginable, as well as the ever-present reactions to them, are firmly ingrained in Tumblr heritage, and I doubt you have to search very far at all to find either of these. Emo Trinity. This is a foundational pillar of Tumblr heritage. If you were in middle school in the early 2000s, you either worshipped this concept or you were bullying the kids with fishnet arm warmers and Gur backpacks who did. The quote-unquote Emo Trinity is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit of alternative music. Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, and My Chemical Romance. I'm not gonna bother distinguishing between emo and pop punk and whatever fucking else genre. The point is, you know these bands, and if you're a big, manly sports fan swearing you've never heard of them, you better come correct, dog. Tumblr adopted these three bands like a family vlog channel exploiting foster children for a Rocket Money sponsorship. Every shut-in, bleeding heart emo dweeb with uneven eyeliner and a Tumblr addiction had earbuds laced up the inside of their Hollister hoodie, bumping The Black Parade and vague posting "Long live the car crash hearts" on Facebook like it would make their parents stop fighting. It's me, I'm talking about me, this is everything, I did all this. It was like giving a crack pipe to a crack addict. What the fuck did you think they were gonna use it for? Which brings us to this classic post. It captures the era perfectly, a cocktail of innocence, cringe, and severe parasocial disorder. While I'm about to clown on this post quite a lot, I really do respect the OP for at least having a creative idea and putting themselves out there. And shout out to my boy Quali, who's gonna help me read it.
No, but seriously, imagine it. You're seeing Fall Out Boy on a concert. Everyone is having a great time. Fall Out Boy seem a little excited. "We have a surprise for you guys," Patrick says.
Okay, pause. First of all, it would never be Partic saying this. It would be Pitt.
All of a sudden, Panic at the Disco come out and start singing "This is Gospel."
Okay, so we're just hijacking the show now, singing an overrated song from an album where half the band had already left. No introduction, no thanks for having us, brilliant.
When Brendan gets to the chorus, someone else starts singing, "When I was a young boy, my father took me into the city to see a marching band. Lights flash everywhere, and you see Fall Out Boy singing This Is Gospel, along with Panic at the Disco, while MCR is singing Black Parade. Everyone in the crowd is going wild and crying.
Viewer, please, I need you to simulate this in your brain. For real. Close your eyes and just envision this. Imagine that much noise, that many people, that much information to receive and mentally process. Different tempos, different keys, all of them overlapping so unbelievably loud. This Is Gospel ends 2 full minutes before Black Parade. So suddenly, My Chemical Romance is just awkwardly playing the back half of their song alone. Think about how much all of that would lick Giant Wiener. It's literally not even a concert at this point. It's just an auditory war zone, just absolute sensory hell, while everyone around you is sobbing and excreting fluids. A nightmarish cannibal holocaust bad trip fever dream with no mercy. Everyone is going wild and crying? Yeah, dude, like a bunch of cats at the vet.
Then, if things couldn't get any better,
you and I have very different definitions of the word better.
Dan and Phil walk on stage and kiss holding the gay flag.
Never mind. Absolute fucking cinema no notes. This post makes me laugh so fucking hard because it's very clearly a very young person operating on the logic of more thing equals more good. They haven't considered that the result would be the most incoherent dumpster fire ever produced. They're just fantasizing about their escapist figureheads, hoping they don't get shoved into a locker again on Monday morning. On top of that, throwing in OG YouTubers Dan Is Not on Fire and Amazing Phil, 2 other ubiquitous and unhealthy obsessions of Tumblr teens, to perform a shallow romantic tribute who, keep in mind, hadn't publicly come out yet when this was written, is the parasocial cherry on top. Don't even try and tell me that this was satire. No, it fucking wasn't. No fucking way. Thank you so much to Quality for helping me read this. It wouldn't have hit the same without your voice in here. Please go give him some love. He was here watching me when I had less than 100 subscribers, so... Cadets, this post is indeed a work of art, but the kind of art that you would use for kindling a bonfire. It is pure, unfiltered, short-sighted enthusiasm, the chef's favorite of Tumblr, a true heritage post. Tomato, a true heritage tomato. Alexandria's Genesis. All right, cadets, time to get into the weeds here. We need to address the blue-haired elephant in the room, Tumblr's reputation. I've touched on it briefly, but you know exactly what I mean by Tumblr's reputation. The kind of like terminally online, self-righteous, and incredibly gullible individual. Whether or not that reputation was entirely fair is not for me to decide, but there definitely is some amount of truth to it, at least from its heyday. Tumblr was a safe space, and in that safe space, you didn't question things if they validated you. Please keep that in mind as we look at Alexandria's Genesis. Alexandria's Genesis, aka Violet Eyes, a genetic mutation. When someone is born with Alexandria's Genesis, their eyes are blue or gray at birth. After 6 months, the eyes begin to change from their original color to purple, and this process lasts 6 months. During puberty, the color deepens to dark purple, a deep purple, a royal purple, or a violet blue color and remains that way. It does not affect the person's eyesight. Those who have this mutation will never grow any facial, body, pubic, or anal hair, not including hair on the head or their ears, noses, eyebrows, or eyelashes. Women also do not menstruate, but are fertile. So, if you've ever seen those like super made-to-be viral did you know posts on like Facebook or Instagram, black background, white text, 0 sources, this post has the same exact energy, just a photo and a cool story and nothing to back it up other than, well, it sounds like it could be true. And just like all those Facebook posts, It's complete bullshit. I'm sorry to burst your bubble to all my 0.1 fucking, how many female viewers do I have? Sorry to burst your guys' bubble. You can't get this. It doesn't exist. Remember when I said that Tumblr and 4chan are like star-crossed lovers? Well, consider this the Tumblr version of a classic 4chan misinformation campaign. And remember when I said the average Tumblr user was really gullible? This slop was snarfed up and regurgitated without hesitation, like a mother bird feeding its blue-haired children. Look, I get it. We were all middle school aged actual fucking children falling for this Fisher-Price ass baby's first internet hoax. I fell for it too back in the day, don't get me wrong. But I was 12 years old and you cannot tell me there wasn't at least one full-grown adult who stopped writing their Harry X Draco /fiction to reblog this with tears in their eyes, wishing that they had been born with Alexandria's Genesis. And I've never looked into whether or not the OP did this as a joke or if they actually fucking believed it, because in my mind and in my soul, I know they believed this was true. Because, in fact, the hoax didn't even start on Tumblr from what I can tell. It seems like it's even older than that, but it did fit perfectly into the Tumblr psyche. This was the peak of main character syndrome, which has deep roots in Tumblr users, and Alexandria's Genesis was the quintessential main character trait. Are you kidding me? It was like finding out you could actually have gotten your Hogwarts letter, or what else was popular at the time? Like finding out you could be a tribute in the Hunger Games, but you wouldn't die. Of course, that's for the normals. No, you are special, and special people get purple eyes and no periods. You wanted it so fucking bad. It should have been you, except it wasn't. You, the main character, did not get the main character magical fairy power up. Oh, to be that young and naive again, back when lying on the internet required some amount of creativity and wit, and there simply wasn't enough crowdsourceable fact-checking to expose you. Oh, dude. What a fucking time. The golden age of misinformation and lying, as it were. Although, looking at the current state of AI search results and the people that treat them as primary sources, we might be circling right back to the purple-eyed superhumans pretty soon here. And so this heritage post was formed. A hilarious combination of teenage angst, social illiteracy, and conning some rubes. As this user said, time to misinform the next generation. A veritable internet rite of passage in and of itself, carrying the heritage forward, and so the cycle continues. Fandoms, grab your weapons. So if the last post was a planet-sized embarrassment of main character syndrome, this next one is a full-on galactic catastrophe. I try to be charitable, cadets. I try not to dunk on low-hanging fruit, but Tumblr is really not beating the allegations with this one. Context is critical here. What I'm about to read for you, this entire thread was a response to a single person somewhere in the real world saying, Tumblr sucks. That's it. That was the inciting incident, and in response to that one insignificant slight, the users of Tumblr treated it like a call to arms. Potterheads, grab your wands. Whovians, hop in your TARDISes. Supernatural fans, get the shotguns. Sherlockians, hire your consulting criminals. Tributes, knock an arrow. Avengers fans, assemble. LOTR fans, unsheath Sting. We've got a few people to track down. Les Mis fans, build a barricade? Yes. Blinks, grab your slushies. Rizzles fans, grab your guns and scalpels. Witches and wizards, time to kick muggle ass. NCIS fans, grab your gear. Castle fans, alakazam that jackass. Jayash Airbender fans, master your banging. Assassin's Creed fans, ready your hidden blades. Fallen in Reverse fans, BVB Army, Legend fans, get the fucking glitter. Oh, Naruto fans, grab your kunai. That was a little bit, that was probably not good. Miraculous Ladybug fans, get your Akumas. Dragon Ball fans, get your fucking dicks out. And it goes on, and on, and on, and fucking on. This is the assembly line of cringe. It never ends because the human capacity for glory hogging never ends. It wasn't enough just to reblog, no. Everyone had to add their own specific micro fandom to the pile, all desperate to have their attendance marked. This is an internet participation trophy. It is the dollar store version of the Avengers Endgame portal scene, but instead of Captain America, it's a 13-year-old named XX_Dark_Loki_XX holding a plastic wand. I don't know. I don't fucking, what is he? I don't know. Does he have a wand? This is what happens when you don't talk to people in real life. We've all been there. Well, most of us. Some of you are still there, actually. The intent was clearly to be supportive, to show a community strength, but it just doesn't stick the landing because this is Tumblr. It lacks all sense of proportion. Someone insulted your website, and the response was a fictional military mobilization of Super Hulock fans. A rallying cry for all the basement dwellers and people who don't have prom dates. Collectively, this post is now designated as kind of like the bedrock of Tumblr cringe. Even the users themselves eventually shoved this one under the bed, way in the back with the jizzy tissues and the empty yogurt cups. Remember when I said that heritage posts tend to have some sort of cursed nature or emotional damage attached to them? This is the pinnacle. It's either the funniest thing that you've ever read, if you're well adjusted, or some of the worst secondhand embarrassment you could ever convoke, if you're well adjusted. For me, it's been both. When I was younger, it was super duper cringe. Almost as cringe as me saying super duper. And now that I'm 14 billion years old, it's just hilarious to envision these people taking this seriously. That's fucking hilarious. Because as the internet keeps aging, it feels like we take everything less seriously. Something super cringe gets shared around and made fun of, and then we all start referencing the cringe thing ironically, which kind of makes it funny because we're funny, and then the cringe thing itself becomes like adjacently funny.
Here we go.
Screams are increasingly getting louder.
Here we go. Talia Scott. 6, 7.
And then the next generation after us just picks it up and thinks it was always funny. And we're all doing all of this nonsense, ironically and unironically, at any given point. It's Schrodinger's cool guy. You're either the cool guy because you're making fun of the cringe thing, or you're the cool guy because you don't care that the cringe thing is cringe and you do it anyway. We all just follow whatever crowd has the most people doing it, you bunch of fucking sheep. Fandoms Grab Your Weapons is non-negotiably part of Tumblr heritage. Just like your disgusting journey through puberty is part of yours. For better or worse, this post will never be forgotten, at least by me, and it will stand head and shoulders above most others as a testament to this era of Tumblr culture. Joker without makeup. Cadets, we have talked about gullibility, we have talked about main character syndrome, but now we need to talk about blindness. Literal cultural blindness. I want to present to you a post that sits in the Hall of Fame of making your illiteracy someone else's problem. Joker without makeup. That's really disrespectful. He was clearly injured in some sort of way, may it be war or what have you. He is probably so depressed his face is scarred like this. He has to wake up every day seeing his own face. Why would you make fun of him like this? Fuck off. This. Seriously, anyone who would make fun of this is just fucked up. I actually think he's still more attractive than like half the guys out there, even with his face like this. Disgustingly disfigured. His fucked up face is actually more, his fucked up, disgusting, degenerate face is actually way more attractive than half the guys out there, actually. You guys do realize that this literally is the Joker without makeup? This is Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight in a scene where he's hiding from a group of policemen. For those of you with functioning eyes and a cultural memory that extends further back than Are we on 6-8 yet? You recognize this man right here. This is Heath Ledger. This is the Joker. This is a scene literally from The Dark Knight, one of the highest grossing, most pervasive films of the last 20 years. You cannot escape this movie. It is etched into the DNA of the internet. But this Tumblr user, they didn't get the memo. Dude, this isn't niche misinformation like Alexandria's Genesis. This isn't a severely malformed opinion masquerading as a fun fact about millennials. Holy fuck, by the way, how fucking old is this? Do boomers even hate millennials anymore? I feel like we've kind of moved on from that. You'll never believe what happens in this next selection. No, dude. This post is literally looking at the literal face of the Joker, this fucking guy, and going, oh, thank you for your service, brave troop. You see these scars? The Glasgow smile. I definitely, if I have any Scottish people watching me, I'm so fucking sorry. A wound famously associated with brutal gang violence, and in this specific case, a guy who puts pencils through people's heads, and you think, wow, the horrors of war. And the worst part, the reblogs. Oh, the reblogs. Thousands of people hitting that button, tears in their eyes, reblogging this hero to their aesthetic blog between pictures of soft grunge forests and Lana Del Rey quotes. This post is a heritage post because it is the absolute peak of what we call performative empathy. I am fully okay dunking on the children who responded to this post because everyone needs to learn this lesson. Don't do this. It doesn't matter who the person in the picture actually is. It doesn't matter that he's literally a domestic terrorist in a clown suit. He looks sad, he looks gritty, and the caption says he's a soldier. That is all the neurons needed to fire the dopamine hit of, I am a good person for reblogging this. Don't do that. That sucks. That makes you a bad person. Put some fucking thought into what you're doing. It's okay. We all had to learn this lesson. I get it. You think media literacy is dead nowadays? Brother, it never existed in the first place. What the fuck are you talking about? We are all just clicking buttons based on vibes alone permanently. So why don't you click that subscribe button, huh? Was it bait? God, I hope so. I pray to whatever deity is listening in 2026 that this was a masterclass in trolling and we're leaving it behind. I know we're not. I wish for it anyway. We live in a society, indeed. Cohose your Cloor. Joke's on you, asshat. I already made an entire video on this absolute fucking classic. If you discount the first, 75% of the video where I talk about something else completely. However, it is the first 75% of that video that sets up the stakes for why Cohose Your Cloor is such a valuable part of not only Tumblr culture, but an era of the internet where people were still employing their creativity without the suffocating skid marks of hustle culture, sponsored content, and grifts disguised as passive income shitting up the place. If you want the full context, and I know you do, you should watch my previous video because Cohose Your Cloor is a fresh of breath air from the more heavy-hitting posts we've covered already. And while you're at it, if you really want to help support real, anti-slop, not turbo-ass creators like me, consider joining as a member or leaving a super thanks to help choose the topics of future episodes. I need your money. Please give me your money. Anyway, if me begging for money reminds you of anything, it's probably this last post we're taking a look at on our tour of the old internet. You forgot again. You already fucking forgot from the beginning of this video until now. You are a brain-rotted goldfish with thumbs. Thumbs that can't stop swiping up halfway through a TikTok because you're already bored. You disgust me. So if Fandoms Grab Your Weapons was a galactic catastrophe, the Dashcon ball pit was a full-on universal apocalypse. That is, if the universe was the internet and the apocalypse was a Tumblr convention at a Renaissance hotel in Schaumburg, Illinois, which is not that far off, honestly. This is the universal center of heritage posts on Tumblr. It broke containment so hard, was so universally decried, that we gave internet historian 20 million views and collectively turned a blind eye to his plagiarism scandal. Oh shit. Did you see IH in the new H-Bomber guy video? Yeah, that was horrible. So horrible. Cannot condone at all what he did. What a shame. Terrible tragedy. But I don't know, his other videos are kind of funny, right? For the blessed among us who have already forgotten, which is all of you, need I keep reminding you, I'm not gonna give you a 4-hour deep dive video essay history lesson here. I'm just gonna touch on the important stuff, i.e. the cherry-picked parts that I think are funny.
We currently have a donation button up on our website, and any little bit that helps. $10, $1.
Guys, we're at 17,000, but we still need a little bit more. We're working so hard, and you guys have been so great. Thank you so much. We made it, guys.
No. What I am here to do is to tell you about Dashcon's contribution to Tumblr Heritage.
We're all gonna sign together, okay? So 1, 2. Give me
back my money.
See, something like Fandoms Grab Your Weapons was lethally embarrassing, but at least it was contained. Dashcon was a black hole that, for tens of millions of people, confirmed everything about Tumblr that they already believed. Dashcon was a convention loosely based around Tumblr and fandoms in general, and yes, you're correct, that does sound like basically nothing to work with. It was essentially a glorified pop-up shopping mall built to suck neat bucks out of people wearing ill-fitting jeans and old Invader Zim t-shirts from middle school in exchange for cheap plastic trinkets and Funko Pops. Or at least it would have been if any fucking vendors bothered to show up or there was anything to fucking do.
About 500 people show up at 9 AM, but nothing is scheduled until 1 PM, so people just wait around for the next 4 hours. Saturday. Artists and stallholders who paid $150 each for their tables aren't selling anything because their customers just donated all of their cash. The Dr. Horrible sing-along blog sing-along is cancelled due to copyright concerns. Turns out Steam-powered Giraffe cancelled months ago. Sorry. If you bought special tickets, no refunds though, lol. Check out the games room. 1 TV, 1 console, perfect for up to 7,000 people. Here's that ball pit you were looking forward to.
There are so many well-run and cool and good conventions out there, but I'm not convinced that Dashcon was ever gonna be one of them. I mean, we do have some witness testimony nowadays, like this one guy who attended claims no one outside of internet tourists even talked about the ball pit, and apparently a hotel staff member said that Dashcon was still welcome despite the mishaps. But to me, that feels a lot like damage control. There have also been several deep dives into Dashcon over the past years that get more to the heart of what happened than the reductive and hyperbolic internet historian video did. But just like real life, history is written by the victors. People like internet historian got to control the narrative and paint the picture, even if it wasn't the most accurate, even if they weren't necessarily trying to do anything nefarious. The truth of why it failed is irrelevant, because how it was consumed by the cultural landscape at the time is what's going to be remembered. So that is how I will present it. And if you ask me, a convention that starts off by crowdsourcing money and canceling basically every event with no refunds is not a success story, no matter how willing you were to donate or how many excuses you were willing to swallow. Failing to prepare even the bare minimum amount of enjoyment for your guests is just straight up disrespectful. Not to mention the accusations that the whole thing was just a scam. And it was attended almost exclusively by the internet's biggest underdogs at the time. You have to remember, at the time, the vocal majority of the internet had a pulsating hate boner for fandoms and cringe demographics and furries and SJWs. All of them were punching bags for the larger internet, and it was pretty widely accepted to dunk on them relentlessly. You know, for a few years straight, you could not escape the barrage of hate against blue-haired liberals, social justice warriors, Karens, even just women and autistic people and young children in general. It was pretty fucking embarrassing for us for a while there. But a very large, extremely vocal part of the internet ate that shit up, dude. Dashcon took place in 2014, the same year Gamergate started. God, what a fucking embarrassment that was. You know, Gamergate, the inciting incident of the entire anti-SJW movement. And who was the poster child for the SJW side? Fucking Tumblr. Now, I am not saying I support any of that brainlet nonsense because I don't.
Fucking pronouns!
But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm simply using that as a platform to describe how, when the details leaked for Dashcon, it was a slam dunk for one side. It validated every single bias these guys had.
Some fucking stupid idiot rented a bounce castle here at scenic Dashcon, Illinois, because they know that what they're dealing with here is children.
You see, Dashcon was a mega failure the size of IC 1101. It was incompetently produced, incompetently managed, and attended by socially incompetent geeks. God bless their weary souls. When the wet, stinky, uncomfortable details started to get leaked online by the courageous whistleblowers, well, the ravenous appetite the haters had for validation could not be sated. Oh, I shouldn't violate your safe space? Oh, well, you were pissing in the ball pit. Where's my safe space from that? Literally.
By the evening, the unthinkable happens. The ball pit starts to deflate, and someone pisses in it.
But the people they were making fun of were coughing up their waifu body pillow / adult huggies allowance to crowdfund a second night of the worst convention in history. Why did they do that? Twice! They did it twice! They gathered $17,000 in cash to hand over to the organizers who couldn't even pay the deposit to the hotel for day one. Straight through the kitchen, no opposition, easiest fucking layup of the average netizen hater's life. No one could take the side of Dashcon. It was simply too fucked. The production failed in basically every aspect. From having a basically non-existent itinerary to not even coming up with enough money to pay the bare minimum deposit for their event space. The haters got to point at all of this and say the most vindicating sentence ever written. Told you so. Honestly, that's KYS material. Watching your biggest critics succeed unconditionally with support. Oh my god, nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. And as if the memeability of this moment wasn't already cemented enough with the endless list of outlandish failures, we got the last little cherry on top of the shit sundae. The perfect capstone quote to really sum up Dashcon as the internet's biggest laughingstock. 1 extra hour in the ball pit.
Everyone who paid extra to see Welcome to Night Vale is entitled to a free extra hour in the ball pit.
Organizers offered convention goers 1 extra hour in the ball pit.
They offered 1 extra hour in this ball pit.
Bro, get out of there. Please. But I literally just got an extra hour.
This quote pushed Dashcon over the edge. You kept expecting the absurdity to end, but it just didn't. There was more and more and more coming out. It never... Watch the fucking video. It never ends. And then we got a slam dunk one-liner worthy of the greatest cinematic comedy to top it all off with. Fucking perfect. For all the massive lack of amenities and events and vendors for the con-goers who had to just kind of wander around doing fuck all because there was literally nothing to do, and for all the literal tens of thousands of dollars that these naively generous attendees gave to Dashcon, everything they put up with, all it got them was 1 extra hour in a piss-soaked kiddie pool in the middle of what looks like a aircraft hangar. The heritage of this post is that Dashcon was the precursor to the massive public disaster to dramatic video essay pipeline. We're used to it now, you know, what with Fire Festival, the Willy Wonka experience, the poop cruise of all things. Dashcon to me felt like one of those big moments where we all pointed and laughed at the weird kids, and they kind of deserved it. When those naive, goofy outcasts jumped into the infamous ball pit, famously soiling their Walmart jeans and surrounded by the hot, sweaty breath and linger power of strangers, in the middle of the fucking back rooms, they were jumping into the heritage of Tumblr itself. An often shallow, but colorful, but kind of unsanitary, and ultimately enclosed space where everyone pretends they're having a better time than they actually are, and they might even believe it too. That's certainly not all that Tumblr is. I do think Tumblr is periodically home to some of the most intelligent, niche, whimsical, and most importantly, fun internet discourse of all time, but good luck convincing anyone after all of that. When I started making this video, I really just wanted an excuse to talk about stuff I saw on the internet that was funny like 10 years ago. I am a Tumblr tourist, and the way I presented this website here is out of date, anachronistic, and not indicative of 2026 internet, but I do think there is a reason that my brain has latched onto these posts, that there is a reason I wanted to talk about something as meaningless as, LOL, look at these old cringy things with me. And if you'll indulge me, I'd like to share my thought process that led me to making this video. The heritage of Dashcon left a permanent skid mark on Tumblr's reputation, or at least it did for quite a while. With how fast the internet moves, with how much content gets pushed out every single day, with the explosion of new users, new videos, new scandals every day, new, clickbait, drama, more. These once legendary moments, like Dashcon, are ultimately left behind us, despite us swearing they won't be. The memory fades. Your children don't know about the Dashcon ball pit. They likely never will. But for you, when it happened, you'd have sworn it changed the landscape of the internet forever. Even with the preservation mindset abundant on the internet, how much we fight for the importance of preserving information and videos and timelines, and fighting against abandonware, fighting against link rot and the removal of legacy content. The way we all download apology videos before they are inevitably deleted, the quote-unquote documentation we record for every little thing that happens, well, it only really matters if we go back and look at it, right? Hypothetically, even if the internet's entire history is being recorded and hosted on someone's encrypted and air-gapped personal server and backed up 1 billion times, seeded to 1,000 other servers so that it never dies, like some kind of digital history book, sure. All of this documentation and preservation will exist forever, but does it really make a difference if no one ever flips through those pages? If no one actually remembers the history? It's there on the page, but not in anyone's brain. Not in our culture, our conversations, our heritage. So are you really preserving anything? What for? Hell, dude, I can't even go back and delete old save files of video games I'll never play again. Why? Why do we care so much? For me, the quote-unquote heritage of heritage posts is the handful of questions they leave me with. Were they actually important? Did they actually make a permanent change for Tumblr's reputation and its slang and its culture? Like, truly permanent? Or does the impact of these posts only last until the next culturally relevant meme or viral moment, which come along more and more frequently as the cycle of rage bait and drama and content farm slop speeds up ever faster? Is that all that our culture has turned out to be? This never-ending treadmill of zero substance, nothing burger bullshit? If it is, why do we want to preserve everything? Shouldn't we choose to only hold on to the truly important stuff? I personally waffle back and forth on my answer to this all the time. On one hand, yes, preserve the history, never forget, document everything, that's how we learn. On the other hand, live in the moment, engage meaningfully with the world you are in, because you only get one chance to experience it. For your own sake, please move the fuck on. So you know what? Maybe these heritage posts aren't actual heritage at all. Maybe they've just been propped up for a bit longer than everything else. Because if Tumblr gets bought out and dies, did any of this heritage posts have any lasting impact? Actually, they'll be just as dead as the rest of Tumblr. Is any of this also true for all of human culture, even before the internet, TVs, radios, newspapers? What happened 1,000 years ago that was deemed not important enough to remember? Will we one day have too much history to ever fully keep track of all of it? Too many history books piled too high to ever correlate them all? Will some historical event one day be experienced by society, recorded by scholars, placed on a shelf, and then never looked at again? Not even once? Will there one day be too much history to remember? And are we already there? If so, something's getting left behind. What is it? The internet is the most fascinating part of the world to me for these reasons and many more. The push and pull between reality and fantasy, truth and echo chambers, satire and sincerity. The content that sticks around and the stuff that dies on impact. The stuff we forget that we definitely should, and the stuff we forget that we probably shouldn't. The buried treasures of the internet you'd never know about without an invitation. That's what matters to me. I think about all these things and what they mean to our culture all the time. We have the sum knowledge of all of humanity at our fingertips, but how much does that matter if you have no map by which to navigate it? Maybe it matters, but maybe not. There is something primally, instinctively motivating about documenting and preserving everything we create, keeping that knowledge around and never losing it. We don't want to lose anything, because no matter how small, niche, or universally insignificant a piece of content is, it has affected someone somewhere. Pointlessness doesn't seem to exist in that regard. Everything must exist for a reason, and thus must never be forgotten, apparently. We must exist for a reason, and everything we do, apparently, must also never be forgotten. I'm not sure if I really do believe that fully, but the alternative is too bleak to comprehend if all of this exists for no reason at all. I made a lot of jokes about Tumblr in this video, but do not misunderstand me. It was out of love. I don't really use the site myself anymore. I haven't for a long time, really, and that probably shows, but I respect and cherish what has come out of it and how it has helped shape the internet, both the good and the very, very bad. You gotta laugh at the bad stuff. Laugh at your blunder years, because that's what allows you to juxtapose the meaningful, rewarding content next to it and see how they influenced each other. At the start of this video, I said that the whole reason I even did this was because we can learn a lot about the internet we're going into from reflecting on the internet we've left behind. I personally wouldn't be so cautious of the threat of AI and brain rot and slop content to creative spaces if I didn't grow up idolizing the pioneers of online video making and internet culture who actually did something inspired on their own. And I just love when I see someone write a comment somewhere and I'm like, yep, I know exactly which website you spend your time on, because I know how that website talks. Whether you know it or not, even if you've never spent a single second on it, Tumblr has absolutely had an effect on your interactions online, which is funny because when I started this video, I thought I'd only be talking about how heritage posts affected Tumblr itself, not everything around it. And we barely scratched the surface of this one single website. What other internet content, or fuck it, even conventional media, people, and cultures have affected your life in small ways that you have no awareness of? Is there something that you say every day, some tick of yours, or some truth that you hold that was unknowingly bestowed upon you by, I don't know, some TV show from a foreign country that was only on the air for a few months? Somehow, some character or moment or quote stayed culturally relevant long enough and passed through enough hands of tourists who brought it back home to their home countries. And maybe they said it to your dad at the grocery store one time and he laughed at it, and then he said it all the time growing up, and now you find yourself repeating that same quirk as you grow older too. And for me, if the smallest things can affect our lives in ways that we don't even know, that now begs the question, even if you are the only person in the world who cares about your little corner of that world, is it somehow less important than anyone else's corner? If 1 million people care about one thing, and one single person cares about another thing, well, both of those things have irreversibly affected humanity to some degree, right? Both have affected a non-zero amount of change. Why would one be considered important enough to remember, but not the other? Where do we draw the line on how many people need to be affected by something before it's considered historically relevant? Shouldn't every little thing be remembered if indeed everyone's life is equally important? If indeed everything exists for a reason? If we exist for a reason because the alternative is too bleak to comprehend, if none of it exists for any reason at all? The scientific method says that we must document every little change that occurs. It is the only way to observe cause and effect. This attention to detail is written into the very means by which we understand the laws of the universe, recording the past to understand our future. From the beginning of time, we have kept our history alive by passing along knowledge to the next generation. Even before we could write it down permanently, we passed it along verbally and trusted the next person to remember it. Maybe that's what all these video essays and digital collections and re-uploads and the culturally pervasive obsession with preservation really are. The next evolution of oral storytelling. Even if this video you're watching right now theoretically lives on the internet permanently, it is very likely that 1 month after I click publish, the new viewership will be 0. And all the people who will ever see this video will have already seen it. If not in a month, then definitely in a year. And 20 years from now, no one will even know this video exists anymore if YouTube is even still around. There will simply be too much that has replaced it. So how much did I really preserve here then? 20 years from now, 40 years past YouTube's creation, no one's going to be looking at decades old YouTube videos made by culturally insignificant nobodies like me, covering historically insignificant shit like me. A handful of hugely outperforming videos and creators will get footnotes in the annals of history, and the rest will never be spoken of again. But even if this video is never seen again after some point, and thus its digital preservation is irrelevant, the people who have seen this video might remember it. They might remember it their whole lives. And the stories I told here might live on in their memory just like they do in mine. And I'll have replaced my one human's worth of memory of these events with 100 more memories in 100 other people, fighting against the inevitable death of this knowledge. Even if this video itself is confined to a single line on one page of an online history book that no one's ever going to look at again, I think that's realistically maybe the point. You forgot about Dashcon, but maybe now you won't. You would have forgotten me, but maybe now you won't. The human instinct to preserve everything, including myself, resides in me too. The main character living in my brain says I'm built different. Maybe I could actually have an impact for decades, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Is any of this important? I really don't know. It feels like it is because of just how badly a lot of us care about preservation. Surely there's a reason. It must be important if we care this much. It also really doesn't feel like it's important at all, because why the fuck would it be? There are so many stories, so many moments, so many quote-unquote legends, so much quote-unquote lore, and surely not all of them are created equal. Some of them wouldn't be worth preserving. The people who remember are welcome to remember, but I'm not wasting my time on archiving a microscopic conversation on one random Tuesday on some unknown forum 23 years ago in the name of quote-unquote preservation. I'm gonna have new conversations and experience new things before I can't anymore. And as you see, my cycle of waffling continues. I can't make a committed decision yet. But given all I've just said, I am leaning towards one more than the other. And I'll let you decide which one for yourself. I don't know if I'm smart enough to figure out if quote-unquote heritage posts are actually important the same way we consider, I don't know, like pottery from ancient civilizations important, but I do know that personally, I won't ever stop thinking about them. And if the heritage of the internet only lives on as long as someone remembers it, well, I guess I'm doing my part, huh? But for now, the only 100% solid conclusion I can come to is that Tumblr absolutely contributed greatly to the identity of the modern internet and how we perceive its content, whether we consciously realize it or not. Tumblr's heyday is seemingly over, and the average lifespan of internet creators is only getting shorter, but for now, we can thank Tumblr for the heritage it has given us and try not to forget it if we really do think it's important. I'll see you in the next one, Cosmic Cadets. We will inevitably explore another obscure corner of the internet together and decide if we have evolved past it or if it really did help shape the landscape of the internet we have now. Or if you guys really liked this one, and I've worked really, really hard on this one, I definitely have enough posts left over for a part 2 for Tumblr Heritage. Either way, it's going to be fun. I'll see you there. And while you're waiting, if these sorts of questions fascinate you in the same way they do for me, there is a phenomenal video by Jacob Geller that tackles the same thoughts I just shared about preservation and why we care about it and whether or not it's even important. The value his videos create for this website is, in my opinion, utterly unparalleled. His work has inspired me maybe more than anyone else on this platform. You kind of just saw me do his whole thing here just now. And you should give it a watch. Anyway, slip slap. This has been SlappyPat.